Hey, this is Johnny Cates, author of Buzzkill, and you are tuned in to Vigilant Liberty Radio. Get it on.
At Independent Journal Review, we publish news that is objective, fair, and entertaining. As one of the top websites in the United States, it's our duty to bring the absolute best to our readers. Readers like you. IJReview.com, your number one source for news and entertainment.
This is Ed Morrissey of HotAir.com, and you're listening to Vigilant Liberty Radio.
Hi, I'm Dustin Hoyt with America Our Way, and you can hear me right here on Vigilant Liberty Radio at 10/9 Central on Thursday nights. We bring you the best in political commentary from the right-wing, conservative, libertarian perspectives coming together and bringing the best content on the internet. Be sure to tune in every week for your favorite shows. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter.
If you think paying for food stamps is more important than paying for veterans, you might be a liberal. Around here, we call you an idiot. Vigilant Liberty Radio.
At Independent Journal Review, we publish news that is objective, fair, and entertaining. As one of the top websites in the United States, it's our duty to bring the absolute best to our readers. Readers like you. IJReview.com, your number one source for news and entertainment.
Well, welcome back to the show, folks. This is Michael Hausum for Mike Miller and the Right Mics. If you would like to, please call in. We'd love to take your phone call, 412-567-6879. You can also interact with us via Twitter at the Right Mics. And there was a bunch of them, actually, during the last couple of segments from Dan Fitzgerald and a couple of other folks that were kind of weighing in on some of these incredibly heavy topics.
See, I was going to ask you earlier, like, did Fitzgerald die or what? Because he was pretty active on Facebook this morning, and you said nothing about him through the whole show. So I know we've been busy, but I was kind of worrying about it.
No, not at all. Earlier on, we were talking about weather, and he said, hey, we don't have a drought, but we don't have Hollywood either. And then talking about when Victoria was mentioning Obama, Dan said that, in his opinion, Obama looked just completely disconnected from reality when he was giving his most recent speech, which I would obviously agree.
Well, exactly. I mean, just as he did, I mean, let's face it, when, what was his name? Foley, right? Was he the first American, he's a journalist, executed, head sawed off with a dull knife when Obama talked about it, disconnected, within minutes, and it was tracked within minutes, like 7-8 minutes, maybe, dude was on the first tee. Okay,
yeah.
So Fitzgerald's right. Of course, Fitzgerald is normally right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So, dude, we got to talk a little bit more about, and just to put contrast to the story, this Jordanian pilot thing.
Yeah.
You saw the story about King Abdullah's reaction. I mean,
yes, I did. Frankly, I didn't read into it because I knew that we were going to talk about it, and I wanted you to kind of introduce it and walk me through it.
So I put it up this morning. I've not looked at how it's doing. Half the time I don't care. I do, but I try not to chase that. So he happened to be in D.C. right when the video was released, and again, horrific video. This guy being burned alive, this Jordanian pilot. Not only was the king visibly, according to those who met with him on the Armed Services Committee, House Armed Services Committee, angry, but the dude vowed revenge and quoted Clint Eastwood in the process.
Yeah, he's not quoting our wartime president, obviously.
No, because he didn't say, this organization, regardless, we don't know what its motivation is. No, he just went right to it. And so Duncan Hunter, I kind of like this dude, relatively young guy in the House, Marine Corps vet, 2 tours in Iraq, 1 in Afghanistan. He was in the meeting. And here's what he said, quote, he said there is going to be retribution like ISIS hasn't seen. He mentioned Unforgiven, the Clint Eastwood movie, which we'll get to in a second, and he mentioned Clint Eastwood, and he actually quoted a part of the movie. Okay, so he wouldn't say, like Duncan didn't say which part of the movie that the king quoted, but he did say it was a scene in which Clint's character described how he was going to get revenge. And let me just read that. Again, quote, any man I see out there, I'm going to kill him. Any son of a bitch takes a shot at me, I'm not only going to kill him, I'm going to kill his wife and his friends and burn his damn house down. So just a tad, Michael. I mean, one needs to listen very closely to that to discern the differences. But just a tad bit of difference the way that Obama reacted to the Foley beheading, isn't it?
Yeah, you know what? In fact, I had friends that were up on that put on Facebook that they want to live in Jordan because at least their leader is interested in taking care of their citizens and responding to threats against them.
I think I put up on Facebook because I always cross-post, as you do, my IJR articles to Facebook, which is basically the only reason I'm on Facebook, because I hate Facebook, other than to put up pictures that I know piss off people like Todd. And Todd thinks I do it to preach to the choir, but that's Todd's issue, as is others, Andy's and whomever. But yeah, I said, dude, we need like a Netanyahu / Abdullah ticket on the Republican side in 2016, because these guys play to win, don't they?
Yeah. So they did. Now I understand that that Jordan actually did hang 2 ISIS guys, the ones that
within 24 hours.
Yeah. That's. I mean, that's perfect.
And one of them wasn't a guy, by the way. It was
Wait, you're
a woman.
kidding.
No, it's a woman. It's a suicide bomber. They posted pictures of her before. She was one of the 2. They have 5 more, by the way. And the Jordanian government is, they're vowing, what's the quote here? Wait a minute. Earth-shaking response to the murder. Abdullah left D.C. Again, he was here for other purposes, and then this went down while he was here. Cut his trip short, went back. I'm sure on the way, because this came out later, that they are going to, if they have not already, increase airstrikes. They're part of the coalition against ISIS. This is how leaders react to stuff, and it stands in such stark contrast to the Boy King, man.
The Boy King. Yeah, I mean it's. Yeah, I was just looking at the video about it, and they're showing this chick. The woman. They caught her after her suicide belt didn't detonate in time.
Right. And they executed her ass within 24 hours, along with the other guy. And they have five other, her and five other, either Al Qaeda or ISIS, doesn't make any difference. They're to an extent one and the same, but they have them on death row now as well. They have moved them all to the prison in which these executions occur. They don't waste any time.
Yeah, after I watched the video, Mike, the rage, it was like watching the Daniel Pearl one, which is the first one I had ever watched.
You know what? And I did see that. I said I only saw the Nick Berg thing, but I did see the Daniel Pearl one. Yeah,
which was, it's just it is up on Drudge. They have that as Back to the Dark Ages.
Well, it is. I mean, it's unbelievable. And now you have this. It would have been a blessing, if you will, had this guy had his head sawn off, as they normally do, versus what they did to him.
Yeah.
It's just it's just indescribable. I said yesterday, maybe at least in Jordan, I think it's happening. There are protests in the street. There were protests in the street, wanting the Jordanian government to redouble the efforts against these savages. But I said yesterday that I hope, or maybe I even said a thought, but let's go with hope, that this would wake up the so-called moderate Muslims in the Middle East, because this is just, first of all, he's a Muslim, right, that they burned alive, but it's just, it's almost incomprehensible. And as we said, it goes back to Auschwitz, man, and the gas chambers. It's just incredible in 2015.
Well, here's the thing, Mike, is that I would suggest, obviously different motivations. The Auschwitz one was to cleanse the country of vermin, is what they said. Whereas what ISIS is doing is cleansing the country of the insufficiently or incorrectly Islamic. But the difference being that in 1939, 1940, 1941, 1942, the Third Reich wasn't putting out professionally produced videos showing exactly what they were doing.
And see, this is why Obama and company are so, oh God, I shouldn't even finish the sentence, in not calling this what it is. Because you know what? Excuse me. 9/11 was 9/11, right? More than 3,000 people killed, most of them Americans, planes flying into buildings. We were horrified. But if you even think of, at least they initially denied it. Later, Osama bin Laden and others admitted it. But what ISIS is doing now in terms of these videos is it's just so far beyond, dude. And when you couple that with the amount of territory that they control in Syria, in Iraq, and the threat that they pose to, those countries which border those two countries, Jordan and others, this is a very, very big deal. So this is why Obama's, God, this guy is so out to lunch, man.
Yeah, it's you think about, we're arguing about deflated footballs. We're arguing about whether or not I should give my kids a mumps or measles vaccination. We're questioning, a really big deal about, whatever nonsense thing. Yet these folks are running roughshod through the Middle East, taking over massive territories, butchering people. I'm watching the thing, and my first thought was that they just need to be obliterated. The time for technical precision, I don't know. It just...
No, you're exactly right. This nonsense, he said it again yesterday. He being... the boy king, degrade and ultimately destroy. This is a war. I told you, my late wife, which is also my former wife,